In August, when she realizes that I was speaking to a divorce lawyer, she became more affectionate towards me more than at any other time in our marriage. Part of me knew she has an ulterior motive, part of me knew that she was manipulating me. She begged me not to leave and she was going to break it off with him, but I don't trust anything she say anymore. I felt like she was doing the pick-me dance. I don't have access to her phone records, as she keeps them in her name and doesn't send me the bills anymore, just a screenshot of the amount of pay. However, when I get access to them, most certainly sure that I would reveal more about her affair. I should add that. She tried to blame everything on me and said that if I had been a better husband, this never would have happened. Her cheating was a character defect in her and nobody asked her to do it. It was her selfish act. One last thing, she gave me a hall pass to go out and screw someone else if I need to. I know that this would even things out in her mind, so I told her trust me. If I decide to go screw someone else, you will be the first to know. I wouldn't do it behind your back. I told her that we were already in an open marriage, but she never sent me the memo. Last week we were walking, and she saw an old lady eating dinner at a restaurant alone. She broke down crying saying that she thinks that will be her, all alone, and that she will deserve it. Reader comment, and don't forget to expose her with other betrayed spouse. And with all family, and close friends without warning. Original poster. Based on her not being transparent, I think she is definitely still involved and likely planning something. I loved her parents, and if they knew what she was up to, they not only would be devastated but her dad would likely have a heart attack. So, I would want to avoid this as much as possible, at least for now. She also asked me to delete all recordings, which I told her I did, but I have backups. There is no way I was getting rid of any evidence. I am also trying to track down the other betrayed spouse but had no luck so far with help from one of my lawyers. I don't know her name. Only her profession and general geographic area she lives in, and my wife will not tell me her name because she said enough people suffered. Reader comment, for years she has been cheating on you, using you, lied to you, and sexless for years. Honestly, brother, ask yourself this, why do you love yourself so little that you want to try to save a marriage with someone of such poor character? Don't you feel you deserve better? How do you feel about yourself when you long for reconciliation with her? Original poster, based on her behavior. I think reconciliation is off the table for me. Just need to get my ducks in a row with a lawyer. It wasn't a full 6-year affairs. There was a break-off, then they restarted again, but that really doesn't matter. He wanted to marry her back then, but because he is Muslim, she knew if she was wife number 1, he would marry 2 to 3 more and didn't want that now. Apparently, she has grown and was open to it, but decided she doesn't want that. I think, if she went ahead with it, she would be number 2. He would marry 2 more and what a sad situation it would be. He got tired of waiting, then got married, and had a bunch of kids. I don't know, maybe that was why they had the short break. I heard in the recording where she told him she had hoped he would have whisked her away to some island 6 years ago. This is crazy talk because we had 3 kids back then. She wants him to take her away from her husband and 3 children. This make me feel depressed and very insecure, even though I gave her everything she wanted. Beautiful home, kids, wealth, etc. Forget about me for a second and consider what kind of person even entertained the idea of leaving her own children for a polygamous relationship. Somebody explain that to me because I still don't understand it. And according to the recording, the only reason he didn't do that is because he said that it wasn't his place to break up her marriage and leave her kids. He said she had to do it, but she was too much of a coward to do it. Not sure if I believe there were no other affairs. Before all this I would say she is not the type. I thought she wasn't the type for affairs, but that wasn't true either. So, anything is possible. The one thing I will say is he certainly knew her much better than I ever did, and now I know why intimacy dried up, as it is very coincidental with when the affair started back up. A lot of you asked me why she is still in the house, why I haven't filed for divorce yet. I think I am still trying to understand why she did this to our family. My logic is if I don't understand how I screwed up a woman that was a unicorn, how am I going to handle my next relationship? I try to get as much info from her, anything she is willing to opens about. One night recently, while we were talking at dinner, I tried to understand the reason why she refused intimacy with her own husband on a deeper level. She told me again that she didn't become intimate with me out of respect for me, as she couldn't be intimate with 2 people at the same time. I said, no, you didn't give me intimacy, as you would have seen it as cheating on him with your husband. I think I hit a nerve as she lost it, tears came out and she said it wasn't true. However, it was exactly true. On one of the last recordings before it all came out, she flat out admitted to him that she knew all these years I wanted intimacy, but she deliberately held it for me. She also said that she could have made her life a lot better with less issues if she was intimate with me. But she says she couldn't leave with herself if she did. And her self-respect was more important. Her point is, I would not have changed my behavior and would have thought because she was intimate with me, in my mind, everything would be perfect. Fortunately for me, I think she was correct with that assessment, as it likely motivated me to improve myself and open my eyes to her indiscretion and suspecting her affair to the eventual discovery. However, it resulted in me being an emotional slave of hers. I am still in shock that she admitted this. She also said on a recording that she never loved anyone before like she loves him. When I brought this up with her, she went silent and has no comment about it. I recall one time when we were having arguments about intimacy and she brought it up with her affair partner, which I heard in the voice-activated recorder. During the time I was pressuring her for intimacy, she lost it on me as I alluded to the fact married people are intimate, and she said, "What do you want me to do? Whore myself out to you?" It got me that she saw being intimate with me as whoring herself out. She was on the recording telling Ahmed about the conversation and said that comment really got to me, and I cannot let it go. I felt like she is depraved and enjoyed torturing me and derived pleasure talking to him about how much she was intentionally mistreating me as if she gets some satisfaction out of it. I was starting to believe that she has some deep mental issue, and I don't know where it comes from. She knows of couples where the wives only become intimate with their husbands as a reward, i.e., when he does things around the house, he gets a BJ, if he take her on a trip he gets intimacy, etc. I think that is essentially prostitution and is disgusting. Those women are no different than hookers. However, in my case, she got everything she wanted without giving up intimacy. I am the stupid one for not realizing it sooner. I had blind love and faith towards her. I think deep down I always knew, but I did not want to accept it and was buying my time until the youngest was 18. I also said to myself, what kind of man would I be if I divorced my wife because she won't be intimate with me? That I would put my own selfish needs ahead of providing for my family and kids. That's the number one thing that kept me trapped for so long. I even told her on more than one occasion she has been using me as a walking ATM lately. When we talk, she asks me if I think we are going to make it, and I said I don't know. She is walking on eggshells around me since it came out a month ago. She believes we can make it past this if I am able to control my thoughts and triggers. I told her she contributed to that because she could have told me. Instead, I had to find out the way I did, which made it worse as I constantly have conversations and other audio playing in my head. I am also jaded towards women, as I think if a virgin unicorn who was brought up properly with great parents and a proper father figure can do this, what chance do other women have? Is it all downhill from there? And it's not about looks because I'm good in that department. People at work see me as the George Clooney of the office. With respect to using private investigator to find the other wife, I don't need to, based on the very few details I know about her. I have already narrowed it down to 5 to 10 people from a list of 300 and can almost guess the one that it is. Reader comment, on a more serious side, you need to DNA your kids and keep your hands off her. Start the 180 hard, look it up in the libraries here. Intimacy is a and she will use, and if you believe after all these years that suddenly she has any love for you, you are delusional. She is very afraid this life is going away, and she's right. Original poster, from a DNA perspective, they are my kids. The AP is from Pakistan, and my children look like me. I am not afraid of being alone. In fact, I think that's where I need to be right now, to figure out how I want to leave the rest of my life. Initially, I was afraid of the financial hit, but I am not anymore. Anything must be better than how I have been living. She certainly treated me like dirt and for many years said she has no respect for me. How could she have respect for a man that allowed her to get away with what she did for so many years? Reader comment, obviously, your marriage has been over for a very long time. She will get plenty to be taken care of in the divorce. So, I wouldn't look back if I were you. Also, I have to add this. I have a problem with the phrases, virgin unicorn, raised with good values being thrown around. A woman's sexuality is not indicative of her worth or value. Obviously, I'm not talking about cheating, but many women aren't virgins when they marry, and there's nothing wrong with that. Original poster, with respect to your comments about virgins. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't marry one. I would prefer someone with a little experience. Reader comment, Have you sat down and discussed why you remain married? Seriously, what is it that you two want to retain or attain? Are you both on the same page? Original poster, that's a good question. I have no intention of reconciling. Although, she is under that impression partly, because I gave her that so I could get her to open more, but I am seeing a lawyer in secret, to get my finances in order. We have sat down and talked, and some of the reason she wanted us to reconcile is the following. 1. We didn't want to disappoint the families, as from the outside world we were perfect too. We are both firstborn at our examples for our siblings. So, failure is not an option, and we are both Christian as well. 3. Deep down I think we still love each other and thought we could get past this. 4. She said for the first time in our marriage she can be completely honest with me after everything came out. So, things will be different going forward, but I don't trust her. 5. We didn't want to waste all the years we've already been together, given what the dating world is like today. Those were some of the things we discussed, but my mind is made up already. I know about the sunk cost fallacy. And I don't intend to invest any more into this, not after everything I have heard, not after everything she put me through, but I'm not a person that is quick to act, which is partly my flaw. My original plan, when I started in November 2019 to finally come to terms with what I saw happening, was to work my ass off for 18 months and make a decision by March 2021, then everything would be in order, including my finances. I would take her by surprise, she wouldn't see it coming. At least that's the plan. I also wanted to fix myself emotionally and physically. I am almost fixed physically, still need work on the emotional side. I am heavily leaning towards divorce right now. It's funny regarding the dating side of things, as literally the day after I confirmed the affair, I downloaded a bunch of dating apps, and started going through a few, Tinder and POF being the first two. I set up a generic profile with 0 photos and played around with it for a day. I then deleted the app since it was just a knee-jerk reaction, and I am nowhere near ready to date yet. I ended up telling her about it in one of our talks, and then the other day she tried to twist it on me saying, "How do I know you didn't use the apps in the past and went behind my back?" I responded, "No problem, happy to show you on my phone, the first installs date of the app, which is kept in the phone even if you delete the app, and it will show you it was the day after I confirmed the affair." I told her, I was being transparent with my phone, but she won't be with hers. She didn't even want to see it on my phone, as she had no answer for what I said. Also, this morning I asked her when she is going to break it off with him, and she said she was going to call him to set a time in person, but he is still out of the country and needs to quarantine when he gets back. She is adamant about breaking it off with him in person and refuses to do it over the phone. She said that she just wished all of the bad stuff that is happening would disappear and we would already be past this. I told her to put herself in my shoes and imagine she got audio of me and another woman in the backseat of my vehicle. How calm and collected would she be? She doesn't want to think about that. I have already come to the harsh realization that she is a manipulative, narcissistic, damaged person, and those qualities dwarf or good ones. I have been holding on to all of her positive qualities. But in reality, her negative qualities are the deal breakers. A couple of realizations I just had. 1. She developed a case of OCD likely just around the time the affair started. I mean, insane level of OCD. 2. She started wearing thong underwear around the same time as well and started looking after herself more down there. I can't believe I missed it at the time. Reader comment, sounds like you know you are getting divorced, and I really think you should. The lack of continued transparency and the desire to meet in person are just signs of the way she really feels. I personally would quit having these discussions with her. They are pointless, and what she thinks is that you all are negotiating all of this right now. I just tell her what your demands are, in as to say, go make a sandwich. There is no reason to discuss comparing anything you are doing with her or having her discuss the mechanics of breaking up with her other husband. You tell her what she has to do for you to even continue discussing a life with her, and she does it or not. She can FaceTime with the guy right now to see him in the eyes if she has to. Being in person is only so she can physically touch him. My gut would tell me what she really wants to do is give him a last chance to make her number one. If he won't do it, then she will come back to you and say she is all in for this marriage. Don't give her that chance. She doesn't deserve it. Original poster, she can't be his number one as he is already married since he is Muslim. The best that would happen is her being wife number 2, and there would be 2 more after her with respect to filing for divorce. I have my second meeting with my lawyer next week. I had a meeting with my accountant. Yesterday things are slow due to the virus. I think she is definitely hiding from her own problems. I think that she could have never imagined that she would have ever been caught. She realized that the fantasy she had been living in has been burst now. She is trying her best to do what she does best, which is control and manipulate me. I am on to her this time. I am completely aware how she has been using and gaslighting me. As a result, it screwed with her head, and to rationalize it had to be my fault because she is not the type of person that would do this. I know she is full of shame as she has broken down with tears about it many times. However, I honestly don't think she has fully come to terms with what she has done and what the potential long-term consequences could be. One day she will fully realize it, and that will be a very dark day for her, and by the time I will already have been long gone. I also have zero interest in playing ongoing detective. If I must do that going forward, I am with the wrong person. Plus, she can always delete calls once she makes them, and deletes threads then creates fake ones, use apps then deletes them. The choices are endless. Having access to her phone is the illusion of transparency, as there are still many ways around it. The only way is to recover her entire phone and analyze with software for things she deleted. It's not normal for the two religions to marry, but his first wife is Christian, and I believe she converted. So it's safe to say that he may be trying to convert my wife to marry her. Our entire families on both sides would be appalled by her behavior, as she is the last person anyone would suspect of behaving this way. Not sure if her parents would disown her as she is still their daughter, but they would be heartbroken. Her father is a very smart guy, and he sat me down a month and a half ago and said I have changed, that I am not funny anymore and a much more serious. I asked him when he thought that changed. He said November 2019, very insightful of him. My mother-in-law flat out asked me if I had another woman. She said, whenever men lose as much weight and get as much in shape as I have, it's usually because of another woman. I had to bite my lip at the time too. Keep my mouth shut. I have told to friends of mine about this. The first thought I was lying to him because he knows her very well and was floored. He just went through his own divorce, where his wife had to find herself and realized she is bi. She even offered him a threesome, which he declined. The other friend of mine said congratulations. He said you will be the envy of other men our ages, you have everything going for you. Going forward at the moment are not taking her serious. She has been doing everything she can to please me except giving me access to her phone, which shows me that she is still hiding something, but I don't care. I'm only worried about the financial impact of the divorce. I have mentally checked out and don't care, and I will be moving on soon. With respect to her meeting with him in person via phone, how do you even control that? What's to stop her from ending it via phone, then saying she is going to meet with one of her friends, then hooking up in person with him? I need a full-time private investigator to police that, and for what the illusion that she followed what I asked her. I honestly don't think you can control a situation like this. If she really wants to get around it, she will. Reader comment, divorce her and be done with her. Call her parents tonight and tell them what has been going on. Tell them their daughter is a cheater, a fraud and manipulator. Call your parents and tell them, blow up her world. Original poster. Although I would love to do that, it's not the smartest thing to do. Still need to get my ducks in a row with the lawyer, but if I have to issue an ultimatum to get her to stay with me, what does that say about me? I am negotiating desire, which cannot be negotiated, and I am not interested in a poly. If I had to do that, I would just move on. At this point, we are way past counseling, and after a few sessions she doesn't believe in counseling, partly because she lies at the counseling sessions as well. And to be honest, neither do I. There are a lot of therapists out there worse off in their own lives than their patients, not to mention the biases they have. I tried individual counseling myself once about 2 years into sexless marriage, and it was a waste of time. I used books and content that I found online to educate myself and stories of others that are found on this site. I realized that there are things that I needed to change about myself to build up my confidence, and I can't change and am not a victim. So I channel that anger into lifting weights. Today is 100 consecutive workouts since January, and I am as strong or stronger than I was when I was 18, and a lot of lifts. I am still angry at myself for all the wasted years and burying my head in the sand, but I can't look back, only forward. And I channel that anger as productively as I can, and it's been very productive so far, at least from a health and fitness standpoint. We are still living together, even though I literally had a conversation with her this morning that we need time apart. However, short of me moving into a hotel or her doing the same or renting a place, it's not going to happen. It's also costly, and our business has taken a 50% beating from the virus since March. I work from home, so we are in each other's face constantly, unless she is out like she is today with friend number 3 below. You know, karma has a way of working things out. 5 of her good friends are going through things now, 2 of them infidelity related. One early 50s friend, her and her husband are retired. And she was a virgin when she married her husband. Her husband just gave her a hall pass to screw others as he knows she never got to. What husband does that? Unless he's been unfaithful too. Mid-30s friend, her and her boyfriend were shopping for engagement rings. Meanwhile, he has been banging 2 to 3 20-somethings on the side for months. 3 early 50s recently divorced friend, she caught her husband cheating, and has now recently divorced very nice lady, and she spends the most time with her. 4 mid to late 40s, newly married. Her friend is on her second marriage and actually gave her advice to funnel cash away and start her own business apart from me. I heard this was on one of the audios. 5 late 40s friend, she has 4 kids, but is in a sexless marriage herself. Funny thing is all 5 love to get advice from my wife. Yet, my wife has the perspective of the cheater side of the equation. Of course, she has told her friends that we have had issues in our marriage, etc. She gets to hear it straight from the mouths of 2 of her good friends the damage cheating did to their relationships, and while listening, she gets to feel what it's like to hear pain from yet another 2 people who are going through the same thing. She ultimately deserves this. However, she left out one pertinent piece of info, that she has been unfaithful to me. Wonder if their opinion of her would change. I say it wouldn't be, as women will stick together, and 2 of the above have told her to use them as an alibi if she ever needs it. She actually came out and told me this a few weeks ago in one of our discussions. I'm surprised she didn't keep this to herself. One of the reasons that I think she wants to reconcile is that based on her friend's issues, she realized that everyone is going through the same issues, just slightly different circumstances. So basically, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. I think the one thing she is most threatened with is how awoken and I have become. I think she realized her future hangs in the balance, and if she breaks it off with him like she said she would and then in turn I divorced her, she will be all alone. Another thing I remember is that she pleaded with me for years to change, and I didn't. She said her biggest fear was that I would change but another woman would get the benefit of those changes, about going no contact with the affair partner. I already told her that she shouldn't do it in person, but she insists on that she would because they have business ties in and there are some documents that she need to turn over. I told her that is what FedEx is for, and she didn't have answer to that. Reader comment: a woman who has spent this long in an affair with someone else realistically won't be able to give them up that easily. They will have intense feelings of loss, and she will end up going back to him. She will not want to reconcile the marriage, more like she will reconcile enough to go back to cake eating, having you both at the same time. I suspect she senses she can get that, so think about your interaction with her, and if you think you are giving her a reason to hope, unless you want to leave life in fear playing detective, watching her on the phone and wondering if it's him or wondering if she's really meeting her friends, then cut your losses and move forward with divorce. I've been there as both detective, and moving on as single. On the freedom from the fear of more betrayal is the best feeling of all. Original poster, agreed. I don't want to play detective and never want to wonder if what she is doing is really what she told me she is doing. The mental space it takes and the residual impact to the rest of your life is too much. Just the countless hours and days it took me to finally catch her I could have spent doing other things. Agreed, with her showing her age. We are both mid to late 40s, and she is just starting perimenopause. Up until 6 to 7 years ago, she would still get carded to ensure she was over 21, so she aged very, very well. However, in the last few years she is starting to show her age, but looks mid-30s. Reader comment: but do you want to reconcile? I would honestly hold off on intimacy as well. You can be civil right now, but like you said, you need your space. I honestly don't know what to say to this. I guess we need to go back to the above question. Stop looking at what happened and playing the blame game. What do you want going forward? Original poster. After it came out end of July, I was full steam ahead to divorce and had lawyer lined up for first week of August. But then wanted to do this, right? No reason to be so abrupt because this has been going on for years. Maybe it was hysterical bonding without intimacy, who knows? Maybe because I wanted her to feel real remorse for what she did before divorcing her right away. I know she is still lying to me, because I noticed her tilting her phone away from me and being secretive. About 1.5 weeks ago, I had to get something in the car while she was in the passenger seat and she flipped her phone over as soon as I opened the door. When we got home, I questioned her about it, and she said it was him texting her as it had been a while that she have not heard from her. She said she responded firmly and said she would call him in a few weeks, and he didn't like that answer when I asked her to unlock the phone so I can see the message thread to verify it. She said She deleted it as it was negative energy. Her lies infuriated me, but I try not to show it. I let her think that believe her. I let her think that she's still in control as she plays her little games. Like I said earlier, I have a second meeting with my lawyer tomorrow to weigh all my options. In her mind she thinks that I'm accepting reconciliation, but the fact that she thinks so is good, otherwise, she wouldn't have told me that he was still in contact with her. I am buying my time maybe too much, but there is no way I would consider reconciling with her. I know she has told lies against me to my children in the past and she is good at manipulating them against me. So, if I give her any hint that I was divorcing her, she will try to turn my kids against me. This is one of the reasons why she wants me to destroy all the evidence I have against her. I now understand her games and I am planning on using it against her. My son and oldest daughter don't live with us, but they visit on weekends. And as much as I hate to do this, I will have to get to them before